Hello everyone, this is Joseph Propati, and today I'm going to be covering my new game, Space Trek, a one-card mission. This is a game that I created for the one-card P&P design contest that's running on Board Game Geek currently, and they are looking for entries. That contest basically is you can design a game. It only has one poker-sized card. You can use both sides of the card and up to 16 different components. And that's like dice and coins, meeple, discs, a lot of different things. But it's basically to try and design a game with high restrictions. So that's what this game is. Now I had a video out previously, and I've changed the rules a little bit, so that's what I'm going to cover now. I've updated the game, and I want to put out a new video to cover all the new rules. So this video will cover a little bit about the game, the rules of the game, and then I'm going to go through some turns as a playthrough. So first, let's talk about the game. So, Space Trek, a one-card mission. This is a game where you are a captain, and you have your ship, and you've kind of lost your fleet out in space, and you're trying to get back to the starport. And to do that, you're going to have to deal with a bunch of encounters, asteroid field, and you need to get past 21 turns to win the game. Now, currently in the state that the game is in, it's not a victory condition type game. It's a win or lose. So if you can get to turn 21 and not lose or have enough of your crew in sick where your ship is unmanageable, then you'll lose the game. So even though you take damage that could bring your hull down less than 0, it basically will take crew members and damage them and put them in sick bay. So it's not a ship destroyed, it's more of a ship unmanageable, and your crew can't manage the ship to get back home. So this is the components of the game. There are one card, poker-sized card. It's double-sided, but my side 2 is the logo. So here we have my game side, and the features of the card is on the left and top you have your tracks. These are the turns, basically from 1 all the way to the end, which is turn 21. Is where you start down here. Then you have your hull track that will keep track of all the damage your hull takes, and then here is your shield, and these use clips to keep track of those. You could use cubes if you wanted to also. And then you have your main ship. This ship, it's tight fit, but you can put your dice on here, and you'll see that you have some numbers. You have 2 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, 2 5s, and 2 6s. Now the dice represent your crew. You have white dice for crew, and these colored dice for vent. So when you want to perform commands, you will place your crew on the bridge, which is basically where they're going to be on to perform their functions. These are the number of those crew that can be on the bridge at that time and that can perform those actions. Now 1 is for a scan array. So this 3 scan arrays, that will be placed above the card. There's just not enough space in the card. So when you have a scan array, you'll be putting those up. And the game itself is similar to if you played Star Trek, the dice game, or Deep Space D6. It has that same type of feel where you're rolling dice, those crew dice are performing actions. But in this game, you don't have cards for missions. You have dice that are the mission or event mission. So that's what you're going to deal with. So here we have these 5 spaces. These are where the event dice will go. Those will represent the events that happen for each mission, and you'll be using your crew to complete those missions, basically put it on top, and I'll show you that. Then you have this little chart here that tells you how you can do conversions of your crew. Like if you had 2 crew, you can convert 2 3s into a 4, 2 4s into a 3. And each of these numbers represents a type of crew. So the 2s are your commander, and they are the ones that can take any of the other dice and change it to anything. So you could use 2, and his command could be, I'm going to take a 4 and change it to a 3. So you need the crew, commander dice, and then another dice to change it. The 3 and the 4, so 3 is science officers, and they are used to raise the shields. So if you use his action, it will raise the shields to full. So whenever the shields take damage, you can use his action to raise the shields up. Medical is a 4. Those are the ones where they will heal crew that are in the sick bay. So if somebody gets damaged, they go to sick bay, use the actions of your medical officer to put them back into the crew quarters. 5 is your engineer. They will repair damage to the hull one at a time. So if you're at 2, you can use 5's action for the engineer and go from 2 to 3, that kind of thing. And then 6 are your security officers. They are used to clear the scan array. And what happens is whenever you roll a 1, it gets placed there and it's locked. It doesn't become unlocked until you get all 3. Now if you have 2 in here, you can use the 6's action, the security action, to remove it and put it back in the crew quarters. So that's the dice. Those are the type of officers, and this is where they get placed. So we have all this information on the card, but really the only thing is that get placed on the card and that will get tracked are the turns, the hull, the shields, all the crew that go from the crew quarters onto the bridge, this amount, and then the event for the mission encounter, these event dice, which will be these, and I'll talk about that. So that's our card. Now we have these 3 clips. You could use cubes or clips that will be used to track. So the white will go on the turn tracker, the yellow will be used for shields, and red for the hull. Now we have our crew dice. So we have 8 white crew dice. And again, 1 for scan array. Those are ones that if you roll it, they get placed up here. Those are locked until you would roll a 3rd. And then what would happen is your hull would take a direct hit of 1 point, and then they would come over here into the crew quarters. So kind of imagine an imaginary area right here. This would be the crew quarters. Here would be sick bay. This is your scan array. And then over here is where you have your event dice pool and your crew dice pool. So whenever you roll, they can't go on the bridge. They just stay in the crew quarters. All right, so let's say you rolled 3 5s. You can put 2 on the bridge. 1, the last one has to stay in the crew quarters right here. So we have 5 of these. And again, remember we have 1 for scan array. 2 is your commander, 3 is your science officer, 4 is your medical officer, 5 is your engineer, and 6 is your security officer. Okay, so these are the crew. And what you're end up doing every turn is you're rolling these guys, right? You're rolling them, and then you are taking them from the crew quarters and placing them on the card or placing them in the scan array every turn. These are the guys that will be used to either accomplish this mission encounter or defeat the encounter. These I'll talk about the types of encounter. And this is a game that's kind of used as Yahtzee for the mission events. These events that happen, and they're based on rolls that you can get. These, in Yahtzees, there's 5 of a kind and 4 of a kind. Like poker hands that we have. Again, I'll explain these, but that's how the events can be triggered based on what you roll. So let's talk about our event dice. So we have these four colored dice and then black dice. The 4 colored dice, green, yellow, red, and blue, are the event dice. And this black one is an asteroid field dice. This triggers if your ship goes through an asteroid belt. Now, based on the triggering, which would be if you rolled a 1 or a 6, in this turn, you are in the middle of an asteroid belt. So everything you do, and turns are broken up into rounds. Every round you're trying to complete the mission, but the mission isn't completed. And when it is, then the turn is over. So you have 1 turn, multiple rounds per turn. So if you rolled asteroids, that you go through an asteroid belt, this will trigger every round how much damage. And that's a 1 through 6 damage, okay? So, for example, I rolled this and I roll a 6. I would set it aside. It wouldn't be a part of this mission encounter, but I would roll it again. I did 1 damage. And then if I didn't complete this mission this round, I would roll it again. Oh, did 5 damage. Obviously, damage goes to the shields first. When the shields are down to 0, it starts affecting the hull. But that's what will happen in an asteroid belt. Now, if I roll my event dice, and let's say I roll a 4, well, now it's just part of the event. It's not, I didn't trigger an asteroid field that I go through. And it would also get played. So let's talk about how events are laid out and what type of events you have. So every turn, after you roll your crew dice and you place them on the bridge, you roll your event dice. So you would roll your dice, right? And then you lay them out and see what type of event is triggered. And that's where you look here. Now before, I rolled a 1, so I know I would have an asteroid belt I'm going through this turn. But before I do the asteroid, I have to see what type of combination is triggered for that event. Now right here I have 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a small straight. If I had a 5, that would be a large straight. So in this case I had a 6, I had a small straight, I'd come over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, any kind of combination with 4 dice that makes a straight. This would be a scan particle. If a small straight, all scan array spaces are filled, which means I would have to take, right, if this was on my bridge, all right, I would have to take 2 more dice from here, my choice. Let's say I took these 2, and I would have to fill this up, make these 1s for the scan array, take my damage, and then move these to crew quarters. Okay, so the triggered event first tells you what the deal is. Then you take this, right? We want to set this one aside because it's an asteroid trigger, and place it on the card. This now becomes the mission encounter I need to complete or resolve this turn, right? And the way we do that is by placing dice on it. But first let's deal with the asteroid belt. So we rolled that our ship is going to go in the asteroid field. We roll it again, and we take 2 damage. So we would take it from the shield first, and then we would go to the hull if I'm out to 0. But it stays set aside because every round that I don't complete this, I'm going to roll it again for damage. Okay, so we've done our asteroid belt. Now we got to try and figure out how do we complete this, right? And you do that by your crew dice. The crew dice that are on the bridge, they have an ability, which is a command that they can do, or they can be used to complete the mission. So right now I have these 2 3s and a 2. I could use, and we're just going to set these, so let's say it's like this, right? We have this, and we have this. Okay, let's see, we're on turn 1, and I'll show the setup in a minute. But so this is what we have on our card. So we know that I can use their actions to affect the ship itself, or what I really want to do is, as fast as I can, complete this mission encounter. Because every round I go that I don't complete this, not only am I going to be dealing with this asteroid belt, but I will take damage for every dice that's not covered. So let's say I go, I'm going to use this 3, and I'm going to deal with that die. And I have this 2, right? I'll put it on there, and then I'm going to use this 3 science officer to raise my shield. So I go, okay, cool, I raised it. But I didn't finish the encounter. So right off the bat, I'm going to take 2 damage, and it will go off my shields first. All right? I didn't finish this encounter, so now I have to deal with this right now, and that round is finished, so we start a new round. I don't re-roll these encounter dice. They're already set. This encounter is something, this mission encounter is something I have to resolve this turn. But I do have to roll for the asteroid. So here we go. Oh, 6. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1. So now right now I don't have any shields left. So that's the damage I take from the asteroid belt. And now I roll my crew. All right. So we got, oh man, a bunch of 5s. So I can't use all these 5s, but I do have these 2, 4, 3, 5. So remember, I can only put 2 5s on there. So this is the crew I have on the bridge. These are the guys that can do stuff. So I know I have a 4. I'll put that there. I just need a 6. Now the nice thing about it is I can take with these, this chart combination, or these this chart that tells me how I can affect the dice by my crew. I can take, if this was a 3, I could take any 3 and make it another dice. Or I have 2 5s. Well, this conversion is 2 5s make a 6. So I can take these 2, make one of them a 6, and then place it on there. And then I could take this 4, but I don't have any in sick bay, so it doesn't really do anything. But this turn, I just completed this encounter. That mission encounter. Well, now, since I've completed that encounter, that's that turn, I'd go to the next turn, and then I would start another turn. Again, if I start a turn, I would roll my crew dice, right? I put them in my crew area first, and then I see, oh man, I got a bunch of ones. Those have to be set first, so those get put up in the scan array. Okay. I have 3, so immediately I take a damage to my hull. Those will get put in the crew, and then I can put these guys on the bridge to my max values that are able to go on the bridge. So then here I have my crew ready to go. Let's roll a new event for this turn. All right, so we got our 6, 5, 4, 2, and a 2. Now basically, I have a pair, right? My black one is a 5, no asteroid belt. So it will not get, or it will not trigger any damage, but it will get attached to this mission encounter. Now we just look for a pair, and a pair means crew reduction. If a crew die is moved to the crew quarters. So basically I have to take one of these guys from the bridge, put him back here in the crew quarters. Now I can do that, and I can just take, I don't have anybody here in the scan array, so I'll take the 6, put it here, right? Now we have our event, our mission encounter, all right? And this is what we have to complete this turn. We have to complete it by placing the dice and covering all 5 of those dice. Now right off the bat we can go, okay, I'll cover that 5. Let's see, I can take a 3, and I just want to put up here so I can max out my shield. I can, let's see, 5, I would take it and I would heal the whole damage. And this 3 can't do anything, so that would be that round. Now the problem is, I'm going to take 4 damage because I have 4 dice that are left open. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we go to the next round. Roll our dice. Place them here. Take our 1s out first. We have 3, 2, 5. I can have 2 2s. Unfortunately, I can't use that 2. And then we would try and, again, complete, which is great because we have 2 2s. And we have 2 5s, which will make a 6. Now I just need to do 1 more 4. So now I only take 1 point of damage. And I'll use the 3 action to raise the hull all the way up. And this way I only take 1 damage. Okay, roll again. We'll put all these on the bridge. And before we do anything, I want to finish my encounter. Right? So we have that. So we've completed the mission encounter. I could use a 5 to raise the hull. And the 2, I'll just set it because I can't do anything with it. Remember, 2, you need another dice change. I could have changed that 5 to a 6, but better do hull. So I've completed this mission, right? These guys all go back to crew quarters. These go back into the event pool. A 1 always stays from turn to turn, so it stays there, and then I would go to the next turn. So that's kind of the rules in the sense we have our dice, which are crew. We have our event dice, which will manage what type of event when you roll it, and then we need to cover them up to complete that mission encounter. There are 21. You need to get through these 21 turns to win the game. Okay? All right. So let's talk about the setup. So first, let's put our clips on the card. So we have white, which goes on 1, right? And then hull damage is always maxed out to 6. Now you are out in space. You start with 0, so you're going to have to use your science officer to get an action out, because right now you can look at it as you were lost, you didn't know what's going on, and you're trying to get everything organized. So right now you probably had some damage you did before, and your shields are down to 0, so that starts at 0. Then we want to put all of our dice, all of our 8 crew dice, in the crew quarters. Remember, this is sick bay, crew quarters, scan array, and then up here is your event dice pool. Okay. So that's basically the setup. It's this game has a very small footprint. I mean, this is basically it. And then you just need to have something where you can roll. You can use a cup, you know, you can use a dice box, whatever you want. It's that's the general setup. So it's really quick to set up and small footprint. So let's go into a little bit more about the rules and a couple of turns. Okay, so we got the game set up. Let's talk a little bit again about the rules of play and how the events are created for each turn. So remember, we have 21 turns we need to get through for the game. Every turn that you go through has a number of rounds that you'll be doing to complete that turn. And every turn is made up of one type of mission encounter that you'll need to accomplish. And those mission encounters will be different every turn. So what makes up those mission encounters is what you roll on your event dice. Okay, so these 5 colored dice are triggered here into what type of event you get, and that will be your mission encounter. That's what you'll have to resolve that turn. And that can be very different every turn. So when you roll your event dice, it triggers a lot of different things too. It's not just roll the dice, put them down, and that's your event. Initially you roll the dice, and again, first thing, you can trigger an asteroid field that your ship goes through. That was from the black dice. Then we have a roll that will trigger based on a Yahtzee style combination. So when you roll your dice, you see first what all the 5 values are, and then look over here and see if it created a Yahtzee style combination. And again, those are full house, large straight, small straight. You got 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, you know, just different combinations that you can get based on these event dice and what's rolled. So initially it's an asteroid field based on the black dice. Second, it's the event type that you get, which has a secondary effect because of the Yahtzee. Like, let's say, for example, a full house. So chaos on the bridge. If a full house, the bridge is in chaos, and only 1 crewed dice of each officer type can be stationed on the bridge. Which means, let's say you had this on the, I'll put a 3. Let's say these are the crew officers that are stationed on the bridge, right? And you rolled a full house. So we had this, right? 2 1s, 3 2s. So you rolled a full house. Chaos on the bridge. So now you have to go through and go, I can only have 1 of these type officers, which means I have to take 1 of these off and 1 of these off. And it just knocked my crew down. They get sent back to crew quarters. And you can think of it as they got sent somewhere else in the ship because something drastic happened. So there's just utter chaos, but knocks you down to 1 of each type. So that's the secondary trigger that happens from the event. Then the next one is, you know, we go through and we would have our asteroid field. So we would roll our damage for that. 6 damage our ship would take. Now that gets placed off the side. And then we have to re-roll any 1s. Remember, our 1s get stationed up here as a scan array. Well, that means I'm never going to be able to place a 1 on here. So anytime you roll a 1, first you see if it affects a combination, right? And then re-roll it. If it's just a single 1, let's say I had this, okay? Not thinking about the full house, but let's say this was my roll, and I had a 6 and a 4, and it was really a nothing roll. 1, 2, 4, and 6. There's no combination or Yahtzee combination that creates, but it has a 1. Now a 1 in itself, crew reduction. If a single 1, a crew dice is moved to the crew core. So that means I would have to take this, and I just have to pick 1 and go, okay, I guess I'll take this guy, and he gets sent back to his crew. Then you take this 1, re-roll it, and then put it out here. It doesn't trigger a new event. It doesn't say, oh, now I got 2, I've got a pair, so let me go back here. No. Whenever you find out what the 1 does, whether it's part of a pair or 3 of a kind or even 5 1s, you see what the secondary is based on having 5 of a kind, and then you just roll all of them again and get rid of all the 1s. Even if you roll 1 again, you got to just keep rolling them, and then whatever happens, that's going to be your mission encounter, and then that would get placed here. So even though the second roll of that 1 caused a pair, ignore it. It's just so you can clear that 1 and make it part of your mission encounter. So now, this is the mission encounter. This secondary has been done. You've had an effect on the crew or the ship, and now for that turn, you have to complete this mission encounter. And the only way to do that is by placing active stationed crew members that are on the bridge onto this event. You can't take them from the crew quarters, and you can't take them from the sick bay. They have to be from the bridge. These are active crew members. So in this turn, I would go, okay, for round 1, I'd go, okay, I have a 2 and a 4, right? And then I would take the remaining ones that can't be used for the mission encounter and say, okay, how do I want to use them? Well, I could use his action, since he's a science, and go, I'll raise shields all the way up. Okay, so that's what I could do with him. Now, this turn, I didn't complete this mission encounter. So I'm going to take damage, right? And you take damage for how many dice are not covered. In this case, it's 2. This is at the point where the round is over and we go to the next round for this same turn. And to do that, we always, if there's an asteroid field, and you'll know you're in an asteroid field because this dice will be out here. If this dice did not roll a 1 of 6, it will be here. So that's a good indication of, if you see this dice sitting here, before the next round starts, roll it again because it's asteroid damage. We roll asteroid damage, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we take 6. So it's always shield first, then hull, right? Then that gets set offside. Then we roll our crew, and you only roll the crew dice that are in the crew quarters. If there's anybody in scan array, they don't get re-rolled. They stay here until there's 3 of them. So the scan array, right, you assign dice that have a 1, and these will keep adding up until you get to the 3rd one. Once you get the 3rd scan array dice, your hull directly takes 1. You ignore the shields. It goes 1 damage to the hull, and then they get put back into the crew quarters. All right? So we rolled our crew. We put them on the ship into the bridge. These are now active crew for the next round, right? So we've taken our damage from the asteroid. Now they have 2 options. Crew can use their command action to affect the ship, or they can use themselves to complete the mission. Okay? You might want to try a combination of both. You might say, okay, I've got a 4 and I've got a 6, right? So I know I can complete this mission encounter. And then I know I have some other crew dice that can do something. So I can take a 3 and I can raise my shields. I have a 5, so I can repair the hull. Then I have a 3 and a 4. I don't have any in sick bay, so, and hulls or shields are up, so those are done. Right? So now I don't take any damage because I've completed this mission. I take the crew off, put them in the crew quarters, and then these go into the crew. That turn is now complete, and I go to the next turn. So remember, scan array dice up top. You place 1s here. When you get 3 of them, hull takes direct damage of 1. They go to the crew quarters. The action for a turn is always, you start a turn, you roll your crew dice. You place the active crew or station them on the bridge. But follow these parameters right here. 2 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, 2 5s, 2 6s. That's only crew members that can go in there. Then you have the rest of the crew, because you can't go over that, they stay in the crew quarters. Also remember, if you have anybody in sick bay, they do not roll on each round or the next turn until they are healed. Okay? Until a medical officer heals them and puts them back here. So that's how you can lose the game, is if you keep getting damage, if you're down to 0, like this, and you keep taking damage to the ship, well, if you took 2 damage, you'd have to take these crew, put them in sick bay. Now you're going to get to a point where if you keep taking damage and everybody goes into, and you had this, let's say, for an encounter, and you will always, for an encounter, a mission encounter, you'll always at least have 4 dice or 5 if we had the black. Okay, you'll never have less than 4 dice, right? 1s will always get rolled and placed in here. So if you're down to this, and then you took another 2 points of damage, game's over. You have no crew left. The ship, you could say the ship was completely out of control, there's no one there, everybody's done. So, or if you get down to this, you could try, if you had a 4, you could heal someone from here, right? And then on the next turn, try and roll. And as long as you keep getting 4s to heal everybody, you're okay. But once you get everybody on here, it's not possible. Or if you have 1s, let's say you have this, and then you have only 1 of these, right? It's not possible to get these completed to get them back here because you need 1 more. Then the game's over. So basically, it's you get enough damage, everybody goes to the sick bay, you're done. game's over. So that's what you want to try and refrain from. Getting your guys stuck in sickbay. So you progress turn to turn to turn, and then once you get to turn 21, as long as you have enough crew that are still out of sickbay and can be either stationed in the crew or in the crew quarters, you win the game. And that's basically how the game plays. If you have any questions from this on how the rules are, or if I missed something or something doesn't make sense, please put it in the comment section. But right now I'm going to go into and do some turns so you can kind of see how the game is played. Okay, so I've zoomed in a little bit so to give you an idea of, you can see the dice and see how everything moves. So let's go ahead and start the game. We've got our shields on 0, holes on 6. We're on turn 1. Here's our crew dice and our crew quarters, and then our event pool. So first thing we always do, roll our crew dice. Okay, so turn 1. We roll our crew dice, place them back here in the crew quarters. Always take our 1s first, stick them in the scan array. Then we look at our bridge and go, who can we put up there, right? So, well, I can only put 2 6s, so put those down here. I can do 2 5s, put those in, and 2 2s. This extra 6 surpasses the bridge capacity, so I have to leave them in the crew quarters. So this is our stationed crew on the bridge. Then we roll our event dice, right? And then we see what we got. So remember, always first, set them up to see if you have a Yahtzee style combo, to see what that triggers. Now, I rolled a 2 on the black dice, so I don't have to worry about our ship going through an asteroid field, but it will get placed on the mission encounter. So then we look what we got. We've got 1, 2, a pair, and a 5. So right now all we have is a pair. And a pair is crew reduction. If a pair of crew dice is moved to the crew quarters, and then we re-roll the 1. So I will take one of these 6s, put it in crew quarters, and then we will take the 1, re-roll it, and just keep re-rolling it until you get something other than a 1. And again, no matter what I roll, it does not cause another combination or another encounter, a subset of the main event. Okay, so we've got our mission encounter for turn 1, all right, and we've got our station crew on the bridge. Let's go ahead and do this first round for turn 1. So I could use a 6, since I don't have any 6s I need to put on here. I could use a 6 to pull the scan array dice off. And I can take these 2 5s, which are great, put them on here, and a 2, right, put it here. Now I could have used the 2 and used his command to change that 2 to a 4, but what's the point? I'm going to use them both. Might as well just use the 2, and then we'll just use this on the crew quarters. So, problem is I didn't have any 3s, so I didn't have to raise my shield, so I take 1, 2 damage directly to the hull. Not good, right? Because 2 dice that are left open, those are the damage I take. Now we go through and we, on the second round, we re-roll our crew. Any crew dice that are in the crew quarters, you re-roll them. So, for the next round. So we can put, we can put everybody and station them on the bridge. Now I need 2 4s to complete this mission, but I also want to do some stuff. I want to get this shields up. So I'll use this 3, his action, for the science, and raise the shields to 7. I will take a 4, right? And let's see. I can't. I can take any of these 3. Now, if I had something other than a pair of 5s, if it was a, let's say it was a 3, then I could change that into a 4, but I don't. So what I could do is I could take these 2 5s and heal the hull damage. There we go. And the 6 doesn't do anything, so we'll take it off, and I take 1 point of damage. Now we're on to the next round for turn 1. All right, they go in crew quarters, so we can go ahead and put them right back onto the bridge. And what do we want to do? So I don't really need, I could, right? I know I have the 4, so we'll put that there. Now we know we've completed this mission, which is great. 6s can't be using anything. I don't need to heal hull damage because I'm already at 6. I could have changed these 2 6s into a 5 based on this chart, right? Conversion chart. And since I've used one, I'll just go ahead and use that shield to raise this up, right? And since these go to the crew, we get to take all these off, put them in the crew, take these event, put them in the dice pool, and we are in turn 2. Okay? So now we go to the next turn. Always roll our crew dice first. Alright. So go ahead, take our ones, put it on a scan array. And then we put our dice in here. And we're going to be able to put all of them on. Cool. So everybody fits. Then we roll our event dice. And go ahead and lay them out. Let's see, we've got 3 2s. And a 6 and a 5. So, what we got? We've got, sorry, that was a 2, so we got 3 of a kind. So we come over on our chart, 3 of a kind. Radiation flare. Any 3 of a kind, one of the crew is affected by radiation sickness and is sent to sick bay. So I have to take one of the crew that's on, not from the crew quarters, but that's on the bridge. So I think I'll take one of the 6, put him in crew, and then we go ahead and we take all these guys, and this becomes our mission encounter. Now we start to use our command. So we can take this 6, we'll take this 5. Don't have any 2s, and we need 3 of them, so let's see, I'll take a 4, and we'll heal this guy, put him back in crew quarters. I need 3 2s. I don't have a separate one here, so go ahead and put him in crew quarters. Now we're going to take 3 damage, so we go 1 2 3, and we re-roll our crew dice. Now I rolled 2 more 1s, which means a full scan array. And that means I take a point of damage to the hull, and then these guys will go back into the crew. Alright? Now I have a 2, so we can cover that one. I can take a 5, heal hull damage, and then this guy will go over here. Now I take 2 damage, and we re-roll. Okay, so we have 2 2s, good. 2 4s and a 6. So I will use the 2 2s to complete the mission. I will take these 2 4s, change them into a 3, and raise my shields. And 6 can't do anything. So I completed that mission. They all go in the crew. This goes in the event. And we're on our next turn. Right? So, turn 3. Let's roll our crew dice. There we go. Now always first, scan array dice. Place our dice in here onto the bridge. Can't put this extra 2 in, so it stays in the crew. Then we roll our event dice. So we have 2 6s, 2 3s, and a 1. So here we have a combination, right? We have 2 things that are happening here. So no asteroid belt that we're going to go through, but we have 2 pair. So we look on here, 2 pair, space distortion. If 2 pair, your shield is reduced by 3. So we go 1 2 3, right? And then we have a 1 that we need to roll. But if I have a 1, remember, a single 1 right here, it will also trigger crew reduction. So even though we had our 2 pair, if you do have 1s, just a single 1, right? If there was nothing else, I would have crew reduction. But since I can't do multiples, I have to just do the 2 pair. You're going to take the highest one you have to do that sub effect of that event. So I don't do 2 pair, right? Have that effect, and then take this 1 and go, oh, I'm going to do crew reduction. No. It's just the 2 pair, and then this just gets re-rolled, right? And then we have our 2. So black one always goes here, and these go here. Okay. So now we have our mission encounter that we have to go through, and now we can start the turn. So we have a 5, 6. So we have our 2 6s, great. And we have a 2. And the nice thing is we can take our commander and use his action to change this to a 3. That means we only take 1 damage. Alright, so we have that done. And now we re-roll. We re-roll our 2 crew dice. And we got a 1. Oh, now those get replaced, and we take 1 damage. But now they're back in the crew. So then we have a 2. Can't do anything because it's 3. So it goes back out of here. We take 1 damage directly here. And then we roll our crew dice. All right. So we got, 1 goes scan array. 2 5s and a 2. We need a 3. So we can use our 2 commander and change this 5 to a 3. And then this 5 can be used to raise the hold. And we completed that mission. Now remember, the 1's going to stay. These will go back in the pool. We made that mission encounter, and we're at 4. I'll do 1 more. Roll our crew dice. Take our 1 first. 2 4s. We can put 3 4s out. 2 2s. And a 3. Alright, so we have those stationed on the bridge. And we take our event dice. Ooh, rolled a 6. So we have an asteroid encounter. Our ship is going through an asteroid belt. Alright, so first, before we do the combo encounter for the 3 of a kind, we take our asteroid dice, see how much damage we have. Oh, only rolled a 1. So it's 1 damage. But remember, asteroid dice stay out of effect, don't become part of this. So then we take this, and remember, we had the 6. It will generate this. So we remember we had a 6. And you should check this first before you roll the damage for the asteroid. But if you can remember, put the 6 back. But always do this first. We have 3 of a kind, right? So that means radiation flare, a crew member goes to the sick bay. So we'll take a 4, put him in there, right? And then this becomes our crew or mission encounter. And then we want to start the turn and go, okay, I want to get the mission encounter. So we have 3. And we have 2 commanders. I think I want to get my shields up. So I'll take this commander, take that 4, turn it into a 3, and raise my shields. I'll take this 2 and make this a 6 or a 5. Alright, so we have a 5, and then we take 2 damage because that's what's left. We can't reroll him, we can only reroll on these. Right? But we have to roll our asteroid damage. Ooh, 5. That goes all the way to 0. Okay. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? So we do have 3 4s. Remember, we can take, if you have 3 of the same, or if you have 2 3 4, or 5 6, 4 5 6, these 3 will turn anything into 1. So we'll take these 3 and change this to a 6. Right? Now we take 1 damage goes to the hull because our shields are at 0. And we roll crew dice. And we have damage because we're in an asteroid belt, so we take 2. Oh, it's going right to the hull. Good. Now, these are kind of stuck. We don't have a 6, but we can use a 4 to heal, and this 5 to heal or to repair the hull. But we take a point of damage, goes right back down. Right, let's roll these for the next round. Oh, okay, here we go. Those 3 are scan array, so that's another damage to the hull. And then we roll for our damage, which is a 5. Uh-oh. So, we have 0, so it's going to be 1, 2, right? So now we're 0. Now basically, if I take damage, any more damage, so it doesn't get transferred, I didn't take damage, they're not all going to go. I don't take what's ever remaining. So it's not, I had 2, I have 3 left. If you get to 0 and you have any amount left, it's just 1 crew goes to the sick bay. Okay? So now we have these guys in the crew quarters. We have this guy can't do anything. And I have 0 shields, 0 hull damage. So if I take any damage at all, crew are going to, they're going to go to sick bay. So this can be scary. So right now we have And it's just, it doesn't matter. If I take 6 damage, 1 crew's going there. Not all crew are going there. So you have some reprieve. But we will roll our crew. Oh, this is going to be good. This is not good. So 2, right? These go here. These are locked. This is what we have left. Oh, we got to do our damage from our asteroid belt. 5. So we got to take one of these. And I think I'll take this one because I can use this one to complete the mission at the last second. So we complete the mission. Not take any more asteroid damage, but I have got to get my ship back up. The only way to do that is heal, repair the hull, or raise my shields. But at least I have some dice to do that. So I can go on to the next turn. So that tells you if I keep taking damage, these guys are going to get pulled out of the bridge and they're going to go and I'm going to lose the game. So I think that's enough rounds that'll give you a good idea of how the game plays, how each turn is played, and how the rounds are played within each turn to try and complete each mission encounter. If you have any questions or concerns or suggestions, I would love to hear them. Please put them in the comment section. If you like the videos, go ahead and please subscribe. I'm always making either small or large games, and I'm always making videos for those. So I hope you like the video. Thank you for watching, and until next time.